I think we should be okay. Famous last words, but we'll soon see now. I've rejoiced. Right, welcome back to the next episode. In this episode, I'm going to be cutting in some downlights. I need to put one here, and one here. And then we're going to have a smoke alarm there. So I'll show you how I measure it, the mark it to get them spot on. And I'll show you the first step. Right, so the first thing I'm going to do is measure this gap between these two walls and get my center point. And then for the light that's going over that way, I can measure the same distance off the wall in. So that's my first step. Right, so I got my first measurement, which is 1020. I'm going to divide that by 2, which will give me 510 mil. So that should be center then. So I'm just going to mark that on the ceiling, and then I'm going to do the same from over that side. So that's both sides marked now. If I was to put another light in middle and further over, I would now set up my laser level and match the lines both up using the level, which I may be able to show you on the next two, because then you're going to have a line all the way through that's perfectly straight. So I've come 510 off the wall there. I'm going to do the same last side because we're above stairs and it's pretty much bang on center of the stairs as well. So it makes sense. So there'll be a bigger gap between, but the customer only wants 3 lights up here. He said 2 above the stairs and 1 by here. So to me that makes complete sense that if we keep the same distance off the walls, it's going to look more symmetrical than trying to divide it into 3. So that's the way I'm going to do it. Right, so all I've done here is done 510 off the walls both sides, and that's center of the stairwell. And now what I need to do is measure from this wall to that wall and divide that into 3. Why into 3? Because there's gaps of 3 between the 2 lights, so 1, 2 and 3, and then that'll give you a nice symmetrical layout of your 2 lights. So I got my measurement now, so it's 620 mil off the wall, and then that should be equal all the way. So we'll see if that's right now. Right, so I've got my first downlight ready to go. So I've measured my 620 from there to there, and my 510. I've marked where it's got to go, which is by there. So I'll do the same on that one now, and then we'll measure the gap in between, and it should also be 620. Right, so I've done the same on this one now. So it was 620 off the back wall and 510, so that's where this has come. So if we measure in between now, it should be 620, and then we know that that's symmetrical all the way through. So if I show you measuring it, yeah, and we're spot on there, 620, so that's perfect. So the next step now is to get this light in line with that one, so we know we should be able to measure 620 off that wall, and then that will be symmetrical to that one, and then that's the next step done. Right, so I've marked down out now, and I'm just looking down it, and they look pretty good to me, so I'm happy to cut them out. But one thing we do need to check, that there's no joists above, so I'm going to get up in the loft and have a quick look and use my tape measure. There is other ways you can stick things up. Because it's freshly plastered, I don't really want to be doing that at the moment, so I'm just going to get up in the attic, see exactly where the joists are, and make sure we're not going to hit any. So I've been up in the attic, it's close to joists, so I might bring that one over very slightly, but I think we should be okay. Famous last words, but we'll soon see now. Alright, so it's the moment of truth, and we'll see if we hit any joists. We shouldn't do, but we never know. so that one's perfect. We're nowhere near a joist there, which is good. So hopefully it's the same for the next two. I've got a joist. A bit of noggin, so I can just move that over a sec. Right, so I'm pretty much done here now. I've got up in the attic. You'll find as an apprentice, you'll be up in the attic all the time, so get used to it. But I've dropped in the cables for these 3 spotlights. We've got to add in a smoke alarm, but that's pretty much it. So we'll get everything connected and that's that done. Right, so I'm just about to fit these down lights that the customer got. Well, he's my mate as well, but I'm gonna speak to him to get different ones, only because I won't name the brand, but they're shocking. They've only got terminals for live and neutral because they don't really need an earth, but they haven't give you that option to put the earth anyway, and also you need to link your earth all the way through, and I'm not going to be able to get a connector block anyway in there without earths leaving on show, looping in between, and it'll just look very rough and poor workmanship. So send these back. If I could name the brand I would, but I can't, so yeah, we're going to get some different ones. Right, so we've picked up some different lights now, so these are a little bit better. They're still not the most expensive on the market, but they do the job. So that's the difference in terminals. So we got one for the earth now, which is a lot better, and even an extra one if you add your loop up here as well. So I'll show you how I connect these up, and that's pretty much it then. Right, so this is the last one done now, and as you can see there's plenty of room in these ones compared to the other ones, so you've got a lot of room to put your cables in and leave a bit of slack. And another good thing, you get them on most downlights now, is the push fits. So you just got to click in the button and then you can pull the cable out and vice versa to get it in. So they make life a lot easier, and it speeds up the process quite quickly. So if you've got like 20 downlights to do in a kitchen, you're just going to speed the job up massively and save time and money. Right, so I'm fitting the smoke alarm base now. So this is an ACO one, and I'm going to measure this centre between the 2 lights. But if you are in a tight squeeze, it is supposed to be 300 from any walls and any like lights, etc. But if I go around by here, I'm clear of everything. So we'll get a measurement between, get the smoke alarm base up, mark where the hole is to get the cable in, which is in here, and then we'll mark that, drill that out and connect this up. Right, so I've marked centre now where my smoke alarm gotta go, so I'm gonna use that as my centre point. So I'll just poke a hole in that and then match it up. Right, so I've marked my hole now on the ACO alarms. So that is usually just by the terminals. So mark that up, take it down, and then that's where you've got to drill your hole. But again, we want to check there's no joists above, so I'll go and do that now. and then we just poke the cable through and then we connect it up. Right, so the base is mounted, so I'm going to jump back up in the attic, unfortunately, find where the cable is, drop that down, and then we can connect it up. Right, so this is all stripped now. And as this is a 3-core, because it's the interlink cable from downstairs, we got a grey and a black in our 3-core. I'm going to be using the grey as my neutral and the black as the interlink. In any other cable, we'd use the black as the earth in like an armoured, because they don't usually come as brown, blue and earth. We do this because in the old colours, red and black was the neutral, and we don't want to get them confused with the new colours, so we just keep them completely separated. So like I said, grey will always be neutral and black's either earth, but in this case is the interlink, but we'll mark it brown. So here's the sleeve-in, so we've got earth, neutral and brown. You can buy these anywhere, it's only cheap, but it makes the job look a lot better than using tapes or any other identification. So what I'm going to do, just put them over the cables. Like so. So now all our cables are marked correctly, and this will be the same downstairs as well. Right, so the smoke alarm's all connected. I'm going to chuck the cover back over the terminals. It will have to come back off again soon to do some testing, but we're nowhere near at that point yet. And I'm also just going to write on the inside of this the date it was installed, because it's always a good practice to do that. So at least the next person now can see when this was installed, whether it needs to be changed or not. It also has this when to replace by as well on it. So that's the end of this episode. I hope you enjoyed this one. Hopefully you found some little tips and tricks of installing some downlights and installing a smoke alarm. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments below, and I shall see you in the next episode.